talk about Clemson. Clemson was supposed to have a down year. Clemson was supposed to not be this good defensively. Clemson had lost Dexter Lawrence, had lost Christian Wilkins, had lost Cleveland Farrell, right? And I think another dude to like the 6th round. They lost their entire starting defensive line. And what did Brent Venables do but reload, man? And Isaiah Simmons is a monster. He's just so good, y'all. Like, if Isaiah Simmons played safety or corner, we would have to consider him for the Thorpe Award. He's just been so good. Any other year, he's winning the Bednarik Award. It's just Chase Young has been on another planet altogether. But this Isaiah Simmons-led defense with Brent Venables making the calls has been putting the clamps to people. Just straight jacking them. Like, I thought Wake Forest was good. I still think Wake Forest is good. Not against Clemson. Against Clemson, they gonna get destroyed. Store brand Cam Newton and the Fighting Dave Clawson, no sir, And everybody wants to bring up the North Carolina win, which was a win. We forget that. But it's 21-20, and it was, they needed to stop a 2-point conversion and Sam Howell to do it. Sam Howell having a really good year this year. And to say nothing of what Phil Longo's been able to do, and Jay Bateman on the other side, Mac Brown is building a winner out there in Chapel Hill. However, it wasn't like Syracuse didn't test Clemson last year, remember? And we was like, Clemson's soft. Clemson's not for real because Dino Babers nearly went in there and got a W. No. What we've seen is Trevor Lawrence is that dude, and he has reminded us all in the second half of the season that he is that dude, okay? He's been just churning out 200-plus passer efficiency rating performances. But it's not as if Justin Ross ain't still out there, because he is. And it's not as if T. Higgins is still out there, because he is. But even if they weren't, that's Travis Etienne back there behind him, man. Like, all the Clemson fans is going, yo, Doug Walker, what you doing? I thought you said you were going to have finalists for the best running back in the nation. If you're doing that, how do you leave Travis Etienne off this list? To which I would say they got a point, because my man is averaging like 8.7 yards per carry. Just ain't got enough carries, like 1,335 yards. In a year in which Chuba Hubbard is 168 yards away from rushing for 2,000 yards in the regular season, he's averaging about 7 yards a clip, like 6-7 right in there. And he's basically become the offense for Oklahoma State. I mean, we're talking about a dude that has reeled off 250-yard rush performance like it's nothing. Even when people know what's coming, even when they know that he's the one person you have to stop, he's been that good. And then there's J.K. Dobbins, who has been an elite back in his own right, and they have very much made him the featured tailback in this offense. There's no splitting carries. It's all J.K. Dobbins with Master Teague and them coming in to spell him from time to time. And then we can talk about Jonathan Taylor, for which he is a Wisconsin running back. And at Wisconsin, all they do is hand the ball to the running back. And all Jonathan Taylor has done is put the back-to-back 200-yard rushing performances. Now, I would also add to that the teams that he's rushed on ain't very good. Nebraska, Purdue here of late. And had they not given up the booty to Illinois, we might be talking about them still as one of the class teams in college football. But they did give up the booty, so we ain't talking about them like that. But there was a time for which y'all was trying to tell me, and I bought into, Wisconsin being one of the best teams in college football. Remember that? Because they beat Michigan like they stole something, like a rented mule. Just stumped a mud hole in them and walked it dry with Jonathan Taylor just running over people. I should also add, the man has rushed for 5,856 yards in 3 years. That's the most by any tailback in the history of the game in 3 years, okay? That dude chased down Herschel Walker. And anytime somebody says your name and Herschel Walker is in the same sentence, when you talk college football, you're doing something right. Now, if you talk about the MMA, maybe not so, because while Herschel Walker still looked like he could fight, he don't look like he knows how to fight. But that's neither here nor there. So your three finalists were Chuba Hubbard, J.K. Dobbins, and of course, Jonathan Taylor. Momentary slip. Because I kept wanting to say Travis Etienne's name in there, because that was the point that I was making. Because I don't think that anybody wants anything to do with Clemson. I think that you're trying to talk yourself into wanting something to do with Clemson LSU. But your defense can't hold their offense. It's not that you're as bad as Oklahoma. was last year is that you're not as good as the ones we've seen win national championships. Because the one thing that we know to be true about playing college football for national championships is that your defense has to be elite. And the one year in which a defense was ranked outside the top 25 in defensive efficiency and won a national championship, they had a legend at quarterback in Cam Newton out of Auburn. That's it. That's all. That's it. Everybody else has had an elite defense. And Oklahoma's closer to having a top 25 defense than LSU does. Because as of now, Oklahoma ranks 31st. LSU ranks 43rd. Okay? Put that in perspective. Iowa State, barely in the top 25. They rank 41st. Defense just ain't been there, man. I mean, we could talk about maybe giving up the booty on the back end from time to time. We could talk about Derek Stingley learning what he needs to do, also coming up with a bunch of picks. We could talk about Jacoby Stevens having up and down and Christian Fulton being up and down. What we cannot argue with is the scoreboard. Scoreboard against Ole Miss. Crappy Ole Miss said 37 points. 37. We can't argue with John Reese Plumlee rushing for 212 yards on the LSU defense. Can't do it. Cannot argue with Ole Miss going at LSU's defense for 612 yards. You can't be giving up 612 yards and expecting us to crown you. That can't happen. And giving up 20 to Arkansas, which has basically been an FCS program this year, ain't going to help your case. So I hear LSU fans saying they want to smoke, but I don't think you want to smoke. I think you're going to get smoked. Now, I love me some Joe Burrows. I like his swag. I like that Clyde Edwards-Helaire has reached that upper level where your mind, body, and soul must be one. I appreciate that. I appreciate that Clyde Edwards-Helaire was carrying Alabama defenders into the end zone, saying, hey, boys, I'm going that way. Y'all want to hitch a ride? I appreciate that. I appreciate 6 carries for 188 yards against the FCS program formerly known as Arkansas. Okay? I appreciate Jamar Chase is having one hell of a season. Finalist for the Biletnikoff Award. Something like 63 catches, 1,263 yards, and like 15 tutties. I mean, the Charlie's Angels trio of wide receivers at Joe Burrow's disposal is filthy. Still think they're going to get matched up and ran. Because Clemson is just that good should they get matched up with Clemson. First, they got to get past perhaps the second best defense in all of college football, arguably. Third, at a minimum, right? Georgia, who also has a Jim Thorpe Award finalist at safety in J.R. Reed. Them boys giving up just 10.7 points per game. They giving up just 268.5 yards per game. They're giving up nothing, nada on the ground. 68.5 yards per game. If LSU can put up points on Georgia, I have more faith in them going at Clemson. I just know that Georgia ain't got the offense that Clemson does. And that's the other reason why I don't think anybody wants anything to do whatsoever at all with the Clemson Tigers. You don't want to go anywhere near them. And South Carolina going to get the full weight of that this weekend. Check the chat.